Hello, welcome to this episode of 49 Faithfully. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. Hey, Tiala, what's going on?
What's up, Mariah? What's up, Niner fam? What's up, Tanya? See you in the chat already. Thank you for being
Yep,
faithful to us every week.
the first guest of the evening. So how was your week? What's going on?
Um, been pretty good. I've seen all these. I don't know if you got them in your area, but I guess there was like some death threats, so they're closing down some of the schools worldwide. I mean, nationwide. I'm like,
Oh,
what the heck? So
wow.
I called the school and was like, does this affect my high school son? They're like, no, it's just certain schools, but yeah, there's a lot of schools that are not making the kids go to school tomorrow, and they're going to start their 2.5 or 3 week Christmas Day week holiday early. So yeah.
Oh, wow. My
Other
daughter
than that,
didn't even have school today.
oh
Yeah.
really? Yeah. Yeah, but everything else has been cool. It's been a great week. I'm glad it's already Friday tomorrow. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long week. I'm still trying to get over this, whatever it was. I don't know.
mhm.
Um, I tested negative, but it sure didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
I still haven't gone back to work or anything, so
Oh, you
hopefully,
haven't? Oh wow.
no, that's going to be 2 weeks now. So hopefully Saturday I'll be able to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's like I have no strength, no energy, just like constantly hacking my lungs up, like, terrible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Speaking of sickness, I want to give our thoughts and prayers out to Breezy. He has tested positive, and this will be the second time now that he's going through that. And
Yeah.
just want to give our thoughts, prayers out to him. Hope you recover soon and that it doesn't get you as bad as it did last time, because I
Yeah.
know last time was pretty bad for
It was
him.
pretty bad, yeah. Also, too, Miss Debbie, she had tweeted earlier and said that she got her booster and then she wasn't feeling well. That she had like 102 fever or something, but she hopes that's all it's going to be and nothing more serious than that. So, yeah. So,
Oh, wow.
prayers to
Yeah.
her too. Hopefully, she's okay.
Yep. Prayers out to you too, Miss Deb. Hope you're feeling better soon. Um, yeah. So we took care of business this last week. That's what you want to call it. We won in overtime, barely squeaked it out. Um, we did both go into that game thinking that, we weren't going to win. And that game started out with some crazy things. I think that whole game was pretty crazy from start to finish. The special teams on their side muffing punts, and it was crazy. Um, I know that some people want their flowers out there, so I'll go ahead and give them. All you that predicted your 50% chance, 50-50 chance of getting it right, that the 49ers were going to win. Good for you.
Hmm.
Got your flowers.
That's awesome.
Flowers from me and my sidekick.
Yep. Because we were wrong. So but yeah, we did. You and I kind of predicted the game, and not going in our favor. You said the Bengals were going to lose. I said the Bengals. I mean, sorry, you said the Bengals were going to win. I said the Bengals were going to win. I had predicted 28-20, and I know there's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but I would have been pretty accurate if Jesse Bates didn't drop that pick six. It would the game would have ended 26-20, and I would have been like, dang, that's close. But I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have came on and said you better give me my respect because I don't do that. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it was good. Like, I mean, I'm glad we pulled off the W. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it was like you said, everything was sloppy. Like, so the game of football, is all about execution, but also at the same time taking advantage of the miscues of your opponent. And I feel like we did that. So we took care of business. Like you said, the two muff punts, and then what was huge before halftime was that taunting call.
Yeah.
That taunting call to Von Bell because it was fourth down. The Bengals were getting ready to get the ball. They called taunting, and we got that first down. And I think we had a first down. I think we kicked another field goal or something to go into
Yep.
the no, or it was a field goal or a touchdown, one of the two. But yeah, so we ended up going into halftime 20-6. So that was huge that we got some points on the board for that taunting call. So yeah, I mean, we took care of what we needed to. I feel like the defense played well until the fourth quarter.
Yep.
They get with those two touchdowns to Jamar Chase. But I will say this, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Wolverines fan, because that's where Ambry Thomas went. But he played okay, for the most part of the game, but everybody says, well, he played poorly. He got torched at the end of the game. Yeah, absolutely he did. But at the same time, we're talking about Jamar Chase, who was a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, going against a corner who hasn't played all year.
Right.
And I would have expected the same results if it was Dante Johnson. I'm being real. Everybody was
Right.
like,
I
because
was
he was supposed to.
expecting worse, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
So
because he was supposed to play. And I'm not dogging him because he just lost his mother, this week for a heart attack. But as a football perspective, he's not that great. So it's like, if he was in there instead of Ambry Thomas, I don't think it wouldn't have been any different. So, but I expected out of Thomas instead of an 8-year vet in Dante Johnson. So,
right.
the most important thing is we got the W. At the same time, you know, this offense, even though there was some explosive plays, and I'm glad this is the first time that Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle has scored a touchdown in the same game,
Yeah.
which I love that. I love that they all, our best 3 weapons on offense got the touchdown and helped us in a win. So that's huge for us. But what I will say, this offense needs to be more consistent. I
Yep.
can't I can't say that the offense is playing well. I can't say that the quarterback is playing well when we played Seattle in the second half, we scored 0 points, and then we go into Cincinnati in the halftime, and we score only 3 points.
Yep.
So in 2 consecutive second halves, we scored 3 points. That's not going to get it done if we're going to make a playoff run. That's not going to get it done once we get into the playoffs. We need to be able to score some points. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's a solid effort. I'll give us probably like a B minus. You know, just because we made the plays that we had to do. And Jimmy, even though he didn't play a great game, he played a solid, a solid, I would say, in the fourth quarter. And then he also played very good when it came in overtime. He played very good. Like he hit, I think he went 6 for 6.
Yep.
I mean, he was hitting, he was on target. So I got to give him his props on that. He helped us get the win at the end. So, even though, and I'm gonna say this last point before we move on, the thing with Robbie Gold, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Super Dave from Real Talk Niner Talk. We're talking on Spaces. Everybody was so pissed at Gold. Oh, you suck. You shouldn't have. You did this. You did that. If it wasn't for Gold, we scored no points in the second half. So you
Yeah.
gotta, you gotta pick and choose your battles. Like you can't criticize one player without criticizing the other, or be okay with criticizing one and not okay with criticizing the other. Like you have to be able to criticize this whole team fairly, and no position is above criticism.
Right.
So yeah, so people can say all they want. Yeah, of course everybody was mad he missed that field goal, but at the same time, he scored us the only points that we had in the second half. So give him his props too, because he did what he needed to do to keep us in the game and to help us go into overtime. So
Yep. Yeah, the offense, they could have easily put the Bengals away. The score going into halftime, they they should have never, been able to come back like that. And I'm not going to blame the defense for, finally, giving up those points in the end. It's like they did everything they could throughout the game up until that point. The Bengals gift wrapped it every possible way that they could this win to us. And it's like the offense again couldn't put the team away, couldn't put up points. It's like you have all these playmakers out there, and Garoppolo is can't freaking find them. They're wide open down the field, and Garoppolo's either too scared to throw it or who knows what the hell.
yeah,
And yeah, I'll give it to him in OT. Garoppolo is clutch.
yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
that's something that we've seen from him a lot, more times often than not. That when if it comes down to a situation like that, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
And I think with that pressure on him, like he seems to thrive better when the situations like that. Um, but it should have never even come to that,
yeah,
and everybody wants to say, oh, Garoppolo won the game twice. Like that's the dumbest shit I have ever freaking heard in my life.
yeah,
Um, you, I mean, had he done what he needed to do, it would have never came down to Robbie Gold having to miss a kick. Had the offense put
exactly.
up points like they should have, and it's just like this is something now we're seeing more often than not that the offense is failing. It's like we don't
Hmm.
have the defense that we had to, you know, previously to be able to carry this team. They have so many injuries and, they're holding on the best that they can. Like I'm so proud that they're able to even go out there and keep us competitive,
Oh,
with the players
absolutely.
that we've lost, and we're down to like our 10th freaking corner, and like it's and yet the offense, it's like this is when we need them to step up to be able to carry the team, to be the strong, part of the team, and they can't do it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, and you're right because you look at the defense. Yeah, the defense did give up two quick touchdowns, I guess you can say, in the fourth quarter. But I mean, do you blame them? I mean, we couldn't muster any offense, so they were spending more time on the field.
Yep.
So that's why at some point you're gonna get tired as a defense because you're just gonna be like, man, this offense ain't moving the ball, this and that. And like I said, the last two second halves, 3 points. We got to get better at that. That's not championship football. That's not even playoff football, to be honest. Like it's going to take a team where we can go into some other team and and they're clicking, and if we're having this kind of offense, it's funny. We're in a situation where we can lose one game and two other teams can win, and then it'll kick us out.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh well, okay, you were sixth place last week, but now you lost, and now two other teams won, so now you're out of the playoff, and now you're back in the hunt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we have to play better these last few games.
Yeah, we're like right tiptoeing that thin line right
We
there.
sure are.
um who else in that overtime drive that stood out? Hopefully this isn't your player of the game,
No.
your player ball. Kittle. I did want to shout him out for getting NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Um, he had 13 catches for 151 yards and a touchdown. He had 3 catches in that OT drive to set up, Ayuk for the game winner. And, these last couple of weeks, he set all kinds of records and everything with this past performance because it was back to back weeks and whatever it was.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, he's really showed up and is being the Kittle like that we've all were looking for at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely.
And it's so good to see that he's being actually used, as a pass catcher.
Yeah.
Um, However, with that being said, I think he's being used too much. And it seems like every time he gets up from a play, he's limping.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's back on the injury report this week. It's we have to. It seems like we can never just like spread the ball around. Like this guy gets 4 catches, this guy 5 catches, this guy 4 catches. It's like this guy has to have 15 catches and this guy 2 and this guy 3. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep,
whether
you're right.
that's Debo or that's it was Ayuk at different games last year, Kittle different games now. And it's just like,
Hmm.
can we just not focus on one guy the entire freaking game?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you because I look at it too, and it doesn't matter how the distribution is, but I think you're right. I would love to see the George Kittle getting 5 catches, Samuel getting maybe 4 catches with only maybe 3 carries. Then you got Ayuk getting 6 or 7. Then you got Kyle Juszczyk who maybe catches 4 passes out of the backfield. I think that's better football, and it avoids more injuries. You know what I'm saying? If you're spreading the ball around, but I think Kyle right now, from what I'm seeing, and this is just an opinion, I think from what I'm saying is he's going to do whatever he has to do to get into the playoffs. Like I
Yeah,
feel like he's just like and I get it. Like they could not stop Kittle at all. Kittle was
right.
eating them alive. It felt like the Saints game from a few years ago when he was just like no matter what they did to stop him, they couldn't do it. So I feel like that's what Kyle was just like. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let me go ahead and keep feeding Kittle. But then at the same time too, if he stopped feeding Kittle and then we start going away from him and we lose, he's gonna get his head bitten off.
Yeah.
Well, look at Kittle was eating. Why didn't they keep feeding Kittle? And this, so
Hmm.
he can't. Sometimes he can't win for losing.
Right.
So I get it. So why? So it's like, well, I'm gonna just keep feeding Kittle. They can't stop him. I agree. I felt like he got overused a little bit, but at the same time, we won the game. And
Yeah.
I think that's what Kyle is looking for. What Kyle is like. He wants a winning season so bad,
Yeah.
and I don't blame him because he's had 3 losing seasons out of 4 so far. This is his 5th, so he wants to at least go like, okay, I have 2 winning seasons and 3 losing instead of the opposite, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Instead of
Yeah.
saying I lost 4 and I only only got 1 winning season. So I get it.
Yeah. I think that's all I really had to touch on that game.
Hmm.
Like I said, I'm glad they got the win, and then we moved to 7-6. Um, yeah. Before we go on to the Falcons, did you get a chance yet to watch the Trent Williams doc?
I have not. Tanya actually told me about it on Spaces, so I'll probably get a chance to watch it this weekend.
Yeah, I haven't yet either. I watched the trailer and I heard Tanya talk about it as well. I'm gonna try to catch that tomorrow. That looks like it's gonna be really good.
Shout out to Daniel Brunskill. I mean, his woman is pretty fine. I'm like, man, I was like, is that how you get on Brunskill? You know what I'm saying?
At
Oh,
the
and
was she
you know
at?
what? Before I forget, I'm sorry. My son, he's with his mom right now. He said he's going to be watching it live. So Caleb, if you're watching, shout out to you, Papa. Dad loves you.
Hi. Um, was he at the? She was at Trent Williams preview. Is that
Yeah,
when?
they were showing. You know how he was like, and let me get a shout to Trent Williams too, because he dresses fly, man, for
Yeah.
being a bigger guy. Like he had, like boy got some swag.
Yep.
So he was there and he was shaking all the hands of the linemen and stuff like that. And then like Daniel Brunskill, he comes up with his lady, and everybody was like, "Okay, Brunskill, like I didn't know you had it like that," Because but yeah, his woman was gorgeous. So it's Tony's talking about the documentary. Yeah, she was telling us that it's amazing, and so did
Yeah.
Click. You know who Click is on
Yep.
Spacers, right? He said the same thing. He watched it. He was like, it was an amazing watch. So
Yeah.
look at Tanya. She is a beautiful sister. See, even she said it. Yeah.
The whole O line, I had seen them. I didn't get to see his girl, but
Oh, okay.
I'll check it out. The whole O line though, like I was surprised they all showed up, looking, nicely dressed and
Hmm.
for being like more the rugged and the bigger guys,
Yeah,
whatever. Like, yeah, they all cleaned up pretty nicely and
absolutely.
showed up for him. That was nice.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I saw my quarterback there as well.
Yep.
I didn't see your guys' quarterback there, but I saw my quarterback there. um, so yeah, that looks really good. I'm gonna check that out. And then also, I think it's this Saturday, right? That Frank's fighting.
Frank's fighting Darren Williams on Saturday. That's correct. Yep.
I read today that he was saying that he's the underdog of the fight, which is interesting, and it's both of their first fights. So I
Hmm.
wonder why that he goes into it as an underdog, which I'm
Yeah,
kind of happy though, because that's good for him, because we know that that's going to make him fight even harder. So
absolutely.
I ordered my shirt, that his fighting shirt. I love
Mm.
that in it has him, like, it doesn't say 49ers, but you can clearly tell that he's in a 49ers jersey,
Yeah,
and that like him, like when he was practicing for his fights, like everything that they've showed, like he's always in 49ers gear,
he
like,
is.
like I love that.
He truly loves us still, and he's even saying even after the fight, he still would want to make a comeback. Like he's still talking about it. So and he'll
Yeah,
be in the
he's
best shape of his life. Because when it comes to boxing, there's not much weightlifting and stuff because you got to keep loose. So he slimmed down a little bit. He might have some more of his speed back. Like who knows? I would. I mean, I get it. Like he is past his prime, but it's Frank Gore. Like if
yeah.
Patrick Willis came calling and said, "I want to come and play for you guys," I'd give him a shot. You know what I mean? Just because it's who he is. So
Yeah, even in the interview, I think, I don't know if it was yesterday or today that the interview was, but he said that he's still hoping, that the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl this year, and that when they get there that they call him and let him join so that he can retire with a ring. He said that he'll gladly take the call for whoever it is that gets there if they need somebody, because that's the one thing that he wants before he retires,
yeah,
obviously. And but he said that that he hopes it's the 49ers.
absolutely.
Could you imagine how awesome that would be?
Yes, be
I mean, even
amazing.
if next year, if that were to happen, shit, like don't retire, just kick it until until we make it there.
Yep.
Whether it's 10 years from now, hopefully it's not.
Yeah,
Be like calling him up, like shit. The Seahawks tried to do it with Lynch, so
it's true.
called him off this couch when he's 57. So game balls.
um. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the defense first. For the defense, I know the popular pick is Nick Bosa, but I'm not going there. I'm gonna go Kaywon Williams. I
Okay.
feel like he played solid in the slot. Boyd didn't really get off like people thought he would because he's well. It's funny. Everybody says, well, he's a bigger receiver than K1. Well, K1's only like 5'9", so he's small anyway, but 5'9", 5'10". But I felt like he held Tyler Boyd in check pretty well. I think he was like second or third in the team in tackles with like 5 or 6. He also had a big sack on third down. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Kaywon Williams on the defensive side of the ball. And on offense, I'm gonna give it to Brandon Ayuk. I'm gonna give it to Ayuk. I mean, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the adversity he's had to come from. From the beginning of the season, from him being in the so-called doghouse, not getting any playing time. Seeing like 2 or 3 snaps a game,
Yeah.
and now he's starting to get into his groove too. And that's what's scary about this team. Like Debo's already a dog. Kittle's coming into his zone, and now Ayuk. Like if you have all three playing at a high level, high cylinders, like it's scary. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Brendan Ayuk, especially because he scored that game winning touchdown off that screen pass, and he took it in, and then the way he tiptoed that sidelines without stepping out of bounds was awesome. So yeah, I give it to Brendan Ayuk for the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Mine as well was going to Ayuk. For pretty much every reason you just laid out there. And I think it was cool that when Kittle said, that the ref, when Kittle was like, "Oh, was it a touchdown?" Before they called it, and the ref's like, "It's 0% chance that that was a touchdown," because he didn't think it was possible that that there was any way that I possibly got it into there.
Hmm.
And then Kyle and McDaniel both had talked about it, saying that they expected him to get to like the 3 or the 4, and that like for him to get in there. And Kyle as well gave Ayuk his game ball, which was really good to see. I
Hmm.
loved seeing that as well. Defense, I'm actually going to give it to D'Amico because I think that so many people dogged him at the beginning of the year, um, and he's had to roll out this pee wee squad defense at times. Like people like that we've talked about so many times that didn't even have a job. Halfway through the season that were sitting on their couches, and he still manages to keep us in the games. I did love to see, you talking about Shark, him blitzing again, like
Hmm.
D'Amico finally using those packages again, using
Hmm.
him. Hopefully we see more of that. Um, and yeah, I think that for being, his first year coaching and all the adversity, everything that he's had to overcome, and we haven't really, lost a step in that department. Like I said, we're still. It's not like the offense is having to score 60 freaking points a game because the defense isn't
Hmm.
stopping anybody. It's like the defense is stopping people, and we just need the offense to actually put some points up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's done great.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that because if you look at the game where the offense was solid, the defense didn't have any issues, having them not score any points. You look at the Rams game. I mean, our offense was on all cylinders that game,
Yeah.
and the Rams couldn't do anything. You look at the Jacksonville game. You know what I mean? Whenever we have a solid, game where we play all three phases well, we usually play pretty good on defense, just like it was week one against the Lions. Like we were destroying them, and then obviously we had those blunders towards the end of the game. But if you look at the defense as a whole, like they played well, and yeah, and two, like for D'Amico, and you made an excellent point because he's been through so much where he's other than Bosa, he's missed some key players all year.
Yeah.
He loses his starting corner game one. Then he played a few games without Tart. Then he played a game without Ward, and then Fred Warner was out, and then he loses Greenlaw. But then yet he bounces back every time, and he puts people in the best position to go out there and make plays. And then you had Javon Kinlaw, who hasn't been playing. So yeah, so people were dogging him at first, and I kept telling people he's playing better his first year than Salah did,
Yeah.
hands down. And I go, so the fact that people were dogging him on the defense, he uses that, and like you said, he's playing. He started. I mean, we went through a few stretches where our starting corners couldn't even crack a practice squad. We had people. We were rolling out players like Dre Kirkpatrick and Josh Norman every single week as our starters, and yet we still overcame it. So yeah, shout out to D'Amico Ryans for sure.
Speaking of injuries, the practice report today, not practicing was both Aziz and Greenlaw, still not practicing.
Mhm.
Mo Hurst isn't practicing. DJ Jones didn't practice. Mitchell still didn't practice. Dante Johnson is not back yet. Limited was Kittle, Tart, Thomas Ambry still in concussion protocol, and Warner was limited as well.
Mhm.
So again, we're rolling into this week with the Atlanta Falcons now, um, with three of our linebackers on the injury report.
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary. We have, both corners that we have left, basically. I don't think I would imagine that Dante Johnson's not going to be back for this
Yeah,
game.
I wouldn't expect him to either.
And then who knows how, Ambry is on the concussion protocol, how that's going to go.
Yeah.
There's never saying he was limited, so that's a good sign, but
Yeah.
you
So it
never
sounds
know.
like the healthiest corners we have right now are Josh Norman and Demo.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Falcons coming to visit this week. The Falcons are 6-7. They're, not that different from us, like they're up
Yeah.
and down, they have some pretty good skill players in there. Patterson is a beast, he's pretty
Yeah.
much there, do
He found like the
everything.
fountain of youth. Dude's
Yeah.
like been in the league for like 9 years, and all of a sudden he's turned into a straight animal.
Yeah, I mean, he has, 5 rushing touchdowns, 5 receiving touchdowns. He has over 1,000 yards combined for his rushing and receiving. They have Mike Davis, which, the 49ers drafted back in the day. He's not really doing much. He has
He's
under
not.
like 400 yards, but and then they have Kyle Pitts, of course. He has a little under 800 yards, but
That's pretty good.
it's kind of strange though that he only has one touchdown. So I
Yeah,
would
that's
think,
weird,
that they would be using him more,
especially in the red zone.
being, yeah, as big as he is, and that seems
Yeah, because what
strange.
is he, like 6'6"?
Yeah,
I'd be throwing it to him all day in the red zone. Like, who's gonna
right.
stop that? He's like another Jimmy Graham type. Remember how he was just like every time he got to the red zone,
Yeah,
the Saints, Drew Brees was like, "Oh, we're in the red zone. Here you go, Jimmy."
yep.
Like every time. Yeah.
And you would think without, Julio being there, they don't have that big body in that spot. They could have used Pitts to take over the, I know it's a different position, obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
but to take that big body, receiver in the red zone.
Especially
Um,
with Calvin Ridley been out these few games.
yeah, right. So they don't have him. I think Gage is their
He's like their number one receiver
number,
right now.
yeah, right now. And I mean, he has under 500 yards and only 2 touchdowns.
Mm.
So it just seems like Patterson pretty much just does everything. Um,
He's like their Debo, huh?
yeah, basically. And then, Matt Ryan, he's getting old, but they're still hanging on there and fighting for a playoff spot right along with us. So how are you feeling going into this game? What are your thoughts?
Um, well, we titled this show "Birds of a Feather Flock Together" because Atlanta, I mean, just like Seattle, always gives us issues. No matter what the situation is. People forget in 2019. We were dominant and they beat us. And I think in San Francisco, right?
Yep.
They beat us. They beat us at home. So, if anybody knows his offense like the back of their hand, it's Matt Ryan. So I'm sure he sits, he talks, he speaks with the defense, says this is what they're going to do, this is what they're going to do. But at the same time, we have Alex Mack, who came from Atlanta, that could probably tell us what everything the defense does. So it kind of helps us out. Um, they don't looking at Atlanta, they don't really allow too many big plays. Like I think they're number one for big plays allowed in the NFL, but I don't. I guess I'm not trying to talk trash, but I can't really worry about that because they don't really allow passes over 40 yards. But we don't take those shots that much, so
Yeah.
they're good. They have a really big defensive line. They're more physical than speed. So I think we can take advantage of them rushing to the outside, which is what we do best, especially if we get Elijah Mitchell back. 'Cause we can use his speed on the outside runs. I will say they have an underrated linebacker in Deion Jones, who, I'm sure that he's been looking at film and looking at the Bobby Wagners and, looking at Harrison Smith, how they cover the middle of the field to try to see if they can take Jimmy off his rhythm a little bit because he does have some hands and he's great in coverage. So that's one guy we have to worry about. But as far as the Falcons, we're definitely a better roster, but it just depends on who comes in and executes. And I laughed because I was looking at the playoff, the way it was breaking down in the NFC, and you got, us, you have Washington, you have Atlanta, you have Philadelphia. We're all four of, and the Vikings in Minnesota. So you look at all five or six of those teams, we're all similar.
Yeah.
We all have some weapons, you don't know what you're going to get out of us from week to week sometimes. So I feel like, it comes down to whatever team's going to execute. But I like our chances at home. We're a 9.5 point favorite. I don't think we're going to beat them by 10 points. I just don't see it. It's possible, obviously, but I just don't see it just because they always play us well. But yeah, I like us getting the W. You want me to give a score prediction?
Sure.
I'm going to go 27-23 San Francisco.
All right. Yeah, that 9, it's kind of going between 9.5 points.
Yeah.
That's scary to me
Yeah.
because yeah, we're at home, but we still have lost 8 of our last 11 home games. Let's not act like we're some home team warriors or something. Speaking of Warriors, shout out to Steph Curry for breaking the all-time 3 record. That was
Did you
awesome
see
to
that video
see.
where his dad was on the couch and the mom was holding him, and like when the dad was talking and Steph Curry was looking up at his dad when he was a baby, like he had a pacifier in his mouth. You didn't see it? I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
have to send it to you. It's so cool. And then he had like a little small basketball court, and he was shooting the ball. He was like 2 years old, probably 2 or 3,
Oh,
and he was shooting the ball. But I mean, it was funny because he kept hitting bricks, and he finally hit the one shot at the end. And I was like, that's where it all started. Like he knew. So yeah, I'm about to send that to you. But yeah, it's a
that's
cute
cool.
video actually, though.
The whole celebration, after he broke the record, we were all kind of wondering how that was going to be because obviously we weren't home. We were, in New York, and shout out to them for really coming through and giving him, the experience, that he deserved for breaking that record.
Absolutely.
Um so yeah, what was I saying now? Oh
We're
yeah,
talking about Atlanta and like
the
their
9.5 points, that's
yeah.
scary. I I definitely that's something that makes me really shy away from, wanting to say that the 49ers are going to win for that, because it's like Vegas is up to something for, like us living in Vegas, like we know once they have high points or they have like these tricky points, like they're up to something.
Well, just like we
And
had said, remember you and I, Miriah, were talking about the Rams game, and the Rams were favored by 3 points. And I was
yeah,
like, I don't like that. Like, that's just too good to be true.
yeah,
And then the 49ers end up smashing them. So, yeah, Vegas is funny like that. Like, they don't lose money for a reason.
yeah. And like you said, they in 2019 they did come in and beat us, 29-22, and I feel like we had a much better team then
Oh,
than we
for
do
sure.
now. Um, but this is the NFL. Any given Sunday, anything happens. I really hope that our guys are focused going into this game. Trying their damnedest to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Mhm.
Um, I think that with Patterson being their number one, threat, that hopefully, our defense is able to shut him down a lot better than if it was, like these crazy ass wide receivers that we have to expect, Ambry, or if he plays, to
Yeah.
cover and stuff. So hopefully with it being a running back and then using him more in that, position, that we're able to stop him.
Yeah.
Um, Besides that, besides him, I'm not really scared of any of their weapons. Pitts, obviously, he gets the yards. He don't get no touchdowns for whatever reason,
Yeah.
but so he might be able to get those chunk plays, on our wide receivers. That's going to be interesting to see if they line him up out, on the
Out wide or
out
something.
wide, or I haven't seen how they really use him.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like how I feel every week. It's, I want to say, and I do have us winning this game, but I can't ever go into the week like confident with this team this season. Like I could roll out here every week and tell you guys, yeah, I think that they're going to win. I think that they're going to win, and bullshit you just like everybody else says and does whatever, but like with my heart of hearts, like I don't feel confident in this team any week. It's like I'm so happy when they do pull out the win, and obviously I want us to get to the playoffs. Hopefully we can get past that a little, but and don't just get bounced in the first round. But
Yeah.
I just, like in 2019, from the very beginning of the season, I had this feeling when I would listen to the pressers, when I would watch the games, anything that had to do with the 49ers. Like, I just had this feeling, like in my gut, in my heart, like everything, that this team was special, that this team
Hmm.
was going to go all the way. And like, that's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I definitely don't have that this season. Like it's like I want to love this team. Like
Yeah.
obviously I love them, but I
For
want to
sure.
love them like within hopes that they're going to do great every week and go out there and smash people. But it's like they're not doing nothing to show me still that they can do that. That they're capable of doing that. That they're capable of putting away teams. No, it's like, are we going to go into the half, 40 to freaking 3, and yet we're going to come out and you're going to let them come back and kick our ass because you guys can't score points in the second half?
Exactly.
It's like, and the scary part is that we're going against a quarterback this week that knows how to take advantage of these cornerbacks that we have.
Absolutely.
He's experienced. He knows what he's doing. Like another, like somebody like Aaron Rodgers, like that we talked about before, like they can take advantage of these weak cornerbacks,
Cornerbacks. Yep.
whereas these other, quarterbacks that we faced haven't seemed to do that. And like I'm so surprised with the Bengals with that actually. Like it took them to the fourth quarter for freaking Zach Taylor to realize, oh, maybe we should test Ambry Thomas. Maybe we should start throwing the ball down the field.
Yeah.
Like up until like the third corner, like quarter, they were still trying to establish a run. Like, what are you doing? It's like their coach is very strange. Very, very strange. Like, if that would have been like a great coach, like they would have definitely taken advantage of that
Well, look at what's
situation.
the name did to us. I always forget the names. The LaFleur brothers,
Yeah.
the one in Green Bay. He took advantage of our secondary.
Right.
He put Aaron Rodgers in the shotgun and said, I want you to get the ball out of your hands before 3 seconds, and that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers did. And he did it all with one guy, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, their secondary is weak. I'm going to take advantage of it. And you can argue that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are the best quarterback wide receiver pair in the NFL. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can argue that. So yeah, I mean it's just like you said, Matt Ryan ain't dumb. And I've never heard it, but I've heard people say that he doesn't like Kyle.
Right.
That he can't stand Kyle. So that in itself is probably why he comes in like, oh, I want to beat this team and stuff like that. But I want to tell you, like, to I guess to defend you a little bit. So, you say like, you go into every week thinking like, man, I don't know what to think of this team. Like, I want to pick them to win, but I can't. And that's okay to feel that way just because simple fact, they're consistently inconsistent. So so it's kind of hard, to sit there and be like, oh, like you said, of course, with our hearts, we're always like, man, I want my team to go in there and get this W. But
Right.
when you use your brain, you look at the mismatches, you look at what we could get exposed to, wherever the case may be, inconsistent quarterback play, whatever the case may be. So you have every right to go into every game thinking like, man, I don't know if this is how we're going to do this and that. But so yeah, I wouldn't feel bad for that because I feel that way too sometimes. I mean, we both sat there and we picked against our squad last week. However, we both picked against our squad against Seattle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just depends.
Yeah, I mean, it really worries me that it doesn't look like Mitchell's going to play this week. Um, Jeff Wilson did, have a better game last week, but
Yeah,
and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it looked like the same Jeff Wilson from the past," and I'm not seeing that.
not yet. I saw a little bit
Um,
more explosion, but I wouldn't say he's back to where he was. You know,
and then
hopefully we get that Jeff Wilson in the playoffs if we make it, because then it'll be a few weeks. Actually it'll be over a month of him playing again, and he can get his feet back under him. But I don't see the same Jeff Wilson as I saw in the past. I don't see it.
what do you think of Hasty lately,
Um, he's
or their
he's
use of Hasty, I
I- I'd
should
s-
say?
I'd say he's okay. I mean, I don't think they use him to his full potential. I honestly think this is probably his last year here, in my opinion. I mean, I think I don't know. It's hard. Like I don't know. Well, I'll put it this way: either he'll be here, it'll be between him and Wilson. I don't think we keep them both again. I think we'll probably bring in like a cheap veteran, just in case of injury, or maybe even go draft one late again or undrafted, something like that. But I can't really say if I like Hasty or not because he has these moments. I mean, I know it's preseason, but preseason he looked amazing. I'm like, man, he runs hard, he does his snap, but at the same time, you know, I don't know. My my opinion of Hasty is kind of all over the place because I don't know what he has to give us because he doesn't get used enough. I guess you can say. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to say.
yeah. It just seems like Kyle is using him really weird this year.
Yeah.
And every time he talks, it's like, well, Hasty moved into that third down back guy, and it's like, why? Why? Why do you constantly feel like he has to be this third down back guy that you have to throw to on third downs, and he's not doing well in that
No.
role? Like, so why do you keep him there? Like, I understand right now we have injuries, so of
Yeah,
course you
that's
can't have
different. Of course.
anything.
Yeah.
But um, Lynch did come out and say that they expect to have Trey Sermon back next week for the Titans. Um, and I would guess, I would hope that we'd have Mitchell back for that game as well. I know that's, jumping a week ahead, but what do you think happens then when that's hopefully, that nobody gets hurt this week? That'll give us those four running backs up.
Yeah. I mean, if we do come back and we have four healthy running backs, I hope Kyle, uses them all because I'm tired of Elijah Mitchell getting hurt. I know we had discussed this before. It's like, I know he's a rookie. I know he has some fresh legs being like 21, 22 years old, wherever the case may be. So I get it. He is our best back. I will say that. But, to give him between 25 and 30 carries every game is not a good look for me. I feel like the distribution should be better. I feel like it should be like, we're going to give you up to 20. If we can win the game with you getting less, great. But we're going to give you 20. We're going to give Jeff Wilson about 8 carries. We're going to give Trey Sermon 8. We're going to give Jermichael Hasty 5. Whatever the case may be, I think the distribution for the running backs needs to be better because I mean, with Elijah Mitchell already being what we're going into week 15? Yeah,
Yeah.
going into week 15, and he's already had 4 different injuries. It's not like it's the same thing that's nagging. It's not like it's like, oh, it's his ribs again flaring up, whatever the case, or knee flaring up, whatever the case may be. But it's like, oh, he's gonna miss time because of his ribs. Now he's gonna miss time because of his finger. Now he's gonna miss time because of a concussion, and now it's a knee and a concussion that are combined. So it's like that's worrisome going forward, because especially as a running back, and these dudes get hurt sometimes early, and they play hurt all season.
Yeah.
Like you're never really fully healthy. You know what I mean? So I just hope that we know what the use. It's funny. This is the thing that's funny to me, and I get it. Like you keep all these running backs in case there's an injury, but at the same time, you should keep these 4 running backs so you can use them all. I would use every last one of them just because I want them to stay fresh.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be perfect timing if that does happen, and hopefully it does, that we can roll into there with four healthy running backs and then juice, as well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm going this week with 24-21 49ers.
Okay.
Um, I just think, like on paper, we're just a much better team than they are. Like you said, we have better players all around the board. The quarterback position could go either way. Matt Ryan, it, uh, I've got mixed, like reviews from people with him. Like you either people love him or they hate him. They think he's trash or they think he's going to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, like we talked about, he's older now, but I'm not expecting him to go out there and play, like crap. I'm expecting him to go out there and have a solid game. But like I said, I can't say the same for Jimmy. Like what Jimmy are we going to see? We're going to see
Yeah.
Jimmy that's going to go out there and throw 2, 3 interceptions, or we're going to see Jimmy that's going to go out there and stutter
Execute.
around and
Yeah.
barely
Execute
put
like he
up
did in
points,
overtime. Yep.
or yeah, or somebody that's going to go out there and execute and have a solid game.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's
And I think
tough.
that's the problem with, why a lot of us are tired of Jimmy, right? Is because he's just okay. He's just mediocre. He's inconsistent. It's like, I just like watching this game earlier tonight and watching Herbert in San Diego or LA, wherever they're at now. Um,
Yeah.
like seeing that big bodied, quarterback that can make every single throw and can run and, like stand in the pocket like big and tall. And it's just like, man, like,
Yeah.
why can't we have that? Like, why do we have to have Jimmy?
Yeah.
It's like, man.
It's crazy too. I mean, you look at the teams that we played, and I think, well, I think Atlanta's going to be the last time we play. That's, I mean, other than the Rams, that's in playoff contention for the NFC. But you look at how we play. It was the Vikings, and then we had, Eagles. Even though it was only week 2, but they're right behind us too. Like it can go either way. Like we lose one and they win one, they're right behind. They're right on our tail. So I feel like these last few games are good because we're playing teams that are hungry as well, because we played the Vikings who needed that win and we beat them. Then you got the Bengals who were like the 6th seed, just like we were, and now they're 7th seed because they lost. So they're just like, we're playing these teams that are right in the thick of things, and then we're doing the same thing on Sunday. We're playing an Atlanta Falcons team that's in the hunt. Like, if something happens from us and Washington football team, they can jump us. Like they can be
Yeah.
like, okay, because you know what I'm saying? So it's just going to be interesting, but I'm glad we're playing teams like that because we're playing teams that are giving us their best. You know what I'm saying? And then so if we can come out winning, against the Vikings, we beat the Vikings, we beat the Bengals, and we can come out here and beat Atlanta, like we're in a step in the right directions. And then they'll put us at 8-6, and then you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting last few weeks. So we have 4 games left, before the postseason.
Yep.
You know what's funny? I just noticed we played 3. We're going to play 3 rookie quarterbacks this year. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and then we're going to play Davis Mills when we play the Houston Texans.
Oh yeah. Speaking of other teams' quarterbacks, it looks like Nick Mullins is going to start this week.
Yep, he's playing against the Raiders, who he
Yeah.
owns.
Yeah. That's crazy, huh? That
Yeah,
he's the third string and he's going to start because both of his quarterbacks are out.
yeah. One
First,
hurt and one COVID, right?
they're both on the COVID list
Oh, they're
now.
both COVID now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. A lot of teams, like all of a sudden this week, right? Like went onto the COVID list. Like I think they said right now there's close to 100 players on there.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand in the NBA too.
Yeah. And the 49ers, thankfully, haven't had not one single player yet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's pretty good. Are we like the only team that hasn't, or I
I'll,
swear it
I'll,
seems like every other
I'll
team,
take it. Yeah, you're right. I'll take it, man. I hope it stays that way for the rest of the season. We've
yeah,
dodged some bullets.
like even the Rams, like are getting hit hard. Like, the other California teams, like it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like, and it seems like we didn't have like each week it would just be like a couple people, um, randomly throughout the league that would be on the list. But all of a sudden, like this week or last week, it started, I think,
yeah. It was a
and it
lot.
just like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's all I had.
yeah. I mean, a good show. Yeah. I mean, just looking at everything, and yeah, I think if we stop Cordell Patterson, I think we win this game. Period. Like we can't let him go off. But like as you said, Matt Ryan is a smart quarterback. Yeah, he's going downhill. He's not his best no more, but he's still smart. He still can make every throw. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking at somebody like, okay, if they're taking away Cordell Patterson, now this is my opportunity to use Kyle Pitts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So he's another one who can hurt us because of his height and his speed, and he's just big. And then
Yeah.
I don't know if do they still have that tight end Hayden Hurst?
Yeah, but I think he's hurt.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know
Oh,
if
that's
he's
a good
playing or
thing.
not.
That's a good thing because those are two real good tight ends
Yeah.
that could really hurt us too, especially if we have these linebackers hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what
Because
I'm worried about. Like,
yeah,
who are
like
we going to have play at
yeah, I
linebacker?
think I think Fred Warner's probably going to play. I mean, if Aziz ain't ready, I mean, I do have confidence in Flanagan Foles because he played pretty well that day that Fred Warner got hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see him coming in doing something, but I can see if he's in, I can see him getting picked on though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And
because
then,
that,
like
yeah,
if DJ Jones doesn't come back on the line, if like he doesn't play this week, like who's going to stop Patterson like in the run game? Like
yeah,
that's, like who's going to be stopping up that middle right there?
yeah.
That's kind of scary too.
Yeah, I think they'll probably do a lineman by committee type thing. It'll probably be like Kentavious Street was creating some pressure last week. Ebelcom was finally starting to do his thing a little bit. They got that guy we got from the Texans, Minahue,
Yeah.
and then I seen Mo Hurst. He's hurt again though, but man, like he's been hurt.
Yeah.
I feel like all season. But Arden Key has been
Yeah,
creating
he's
pressure.
actually doing something,
Yeah, so we
it's
have.
so
I
nice
mean,
to
we
see.
have some guys that create pressure. On a I wouldn't say a regular basis, but they have their moments. But to me, other than Bosa, and I'm gonna keep saying every week, it comes down to Eric Armstead. You need to step up your game, brother. Like I'm sorry, like, and what's funny is too was like Bosa gets double covered. He gets blocked all the time, every game. Like there's always two men on him blocking him.
More
So
than
that means
anybody in the league.
are getting single coverage for the most part. You know what I mean? So
And
it's like,
Bosa's
man,
still like the only one getting to the quarterback
yeah, he's
besides
still only
Arden
getting to the
Key.
corner.
Like,
I'm just like, man,
how does
like
that happen?
yeah, it's like, wow, how is this happening? Like Armstead, dude, you're 6'7", 300 pounds. Like you should be in there, or at least if you're not going to get pressure, he should be batting balls down. Like he should be like that JJ Watt type person
Yeah.
that like I'm not going to get to the quarterback, but I'm going to keep my arms up being 6'7" with this wingspan, and I'm going to be knocking down some balls. But I don't even see him doing that.
Right. And we see teams constantly do that to us, right? Whether
Yeah,
it's Garoppolo or Lance, both.
yeah,
We've seen they're always doing that to us. And it's like
yeah,
we have this tall ass guy and we're never doing that shit.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I think that's it. Is there any questions in the chat or not really?
No.
Okay.
Um Next week, what's the plan? Are we still gonna go
Yeah.
watch the game or
Yeah, you said that you know about that spot, so just text me where it's at because I never been there. So
okay, so maybe we'll try to go live from there for a little bit or
okay,
we'll see how it goes. Like if we have good enough service, maybe we'll go live for a little bit and bring you guys a little bit of show.
sounds good. Yeah,
And if not, then maybe we'll do a show later on in the week. We'll see.
yeah, maybe Friday or something, or yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Sounds good to me.
All right. Hopefully, we make it through this week safe and healthy and players wise and all the faithful out there. Hopefully everybody
Absolutely,
has a great week
I
and
appreciate that,
everybody
fam.
that's going through illness and I know one of our faithfuls out there as well lost his mother and his grandmother within a matter of days. So just tell the ones that you love them. Hold everybody tight. What's up, Jesse?
What's up, Jesse? How you doing, brother?
And yeah, let's get through this. There's enough craziness going out there. Like we don't need to be adding to it and sending our addresses and fighting each other over quarterbacks and stuff. Like, come
Yeah, it's
on.
ridiculous. Yeah, I just and it was funny. I had put this tweet up. and and I know it wouldn't happen, but I put the tip. I was like, hey, I wonder if we can have a 49er space where we can have a healthy Trey Lance and Jimmy debate. Everybody was like, are you crazy, fam? It's not gonna happen. I go, yeah, I know. I go, but it would be amazing to hear, especially because I've talking to so many 49er fans, and there's a legit half of them that think that Jimmy's coming back.
Yeah,
Like a
I
lot of them
know.
are like a lot of them are like, yeah, I think he might come back. He might come back. So I was like, okay, let's talk about it. Like, why do you want Jimmy back, and why shouldn't Trey be the starter? Like I want to hear some dialogue on that. Like I would love to hear that without arguing and without you're stupid and this and that. Like people are gonna have their opinions. That's it. But it's like I feel like the Jimmy fans are the more hostile ones, though. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the ones who are always, you know, they're the ones who resort to name calling and, oh, send me your address and I'll meet you here. And like, stop. Like you're a keyboard warrior. You wouldn't say that to my face because you get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, or who knows? You might knock me out, but it ain't gonna be easy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but these people are just, it gets crazy. Like we're too old for this nonsense.
Right.
Like, we're too
Um,
old to be sitting there fighting over quarterbacks who probably don't even know who don't know who the heck we are, and and these fans are sitting here and we're saying that not us, fam. Me and Miriah don't get down like that. We're just saying, over the course of these few weeks, ever since well, I feel like it got worse after we lost to the Colts.
yeah.
After we lost to the Colts, that's when it really got bad. Like people were just like, it was back and forth, and Trey should start, Jimmy should start, blah blah blah, and he gives us the best chance to win. Trey ain't ready yet. Like it's just so many narratives out there that's just so crazy, and I'm just like, it's okay to have your own opinion. Have your own opinion, but be respectful to others' opinions. That's what it comes down to. So it's crazy. So we got to do better, fam.
Yeah. What's up, Joel? Thanks for joining us. Ray, appreciate
What's
it.
up, Ray? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people are like going to fight for Jimmy like that's their dad or something. It's like, man,
Like that's their
like I hope
dad.
you keep the same energy when it's your family and like people you're supposed to really care about, like
Hmm.
it's crazy. And then like,
Yeah.
like this thing that's like the crazy, like two things before we drop off this
Yeah, yeah,
subject
yeah.
and go. One, how you talked about like that there's still a good portion of the people that think, Jimmy will come back like next year. It's
Mhm.
like I sit there and think about like who in their right possible freaking mind could think that. Like there's like nothing that they could possibly tell me that's going to make me understand why you would think that that's going to happen
Yeah.
or that should happen or like I don't know. Like as far as like the whole salary cap thing that, like then you got Trey what's going to sit on the bench for freaking 15 years before he fucking ever plays again.
Yes,
Like
seriously.
it's just like it's I can't that thought just doesn't go through my brain and make sense that Jimmy's
Yeah.
going to be on this team next year.
See, I see Ray on here and Jesse. Like I would love like a panel. I would love a panel with like us sitting on there, like, whether I'm the host or Jesse's the host or something like that. Me, him, and Raymond, let's just say, because all three of us feel like Trey should be the quarterback. Okay. So we go on there, we spit our piece. This is why Trey should start in 2022 and not Jimmy if he stays or whatever the case may be. Whatever, because then we can mute people and then let people come up. Okay, this is why I feel like Jimmy should start. Okay, cool. You said your piece, whatever the case may be, and have a healthy dialogue about it. But it would never happen because people, just like you said, people act like Jimmy's like their homeboy or something. Like they go out and have drinks together. You know what I mean? But it's like, but what gets me mad, and I had mentioned it last night, it was like, you know what? If you want to be, and this is what I don't like. So the people who always defend Jimmy came with the same answer. Well, I don't care. I'm a Niners fan. I'm a Niners fan, and that's why I go to bat for Jimmy. Okay, well that's fine. Why don't you go to bat for Robbie Gold? People were dogging him when he missed that field goal. But use that same energy to go after somebody else. Like if you're gonna if you say you're a quote unquote, well, I defend Jimmy because he's a Niner, then defend everybody who gets dogged. Like I shut somebody up on Twitter because he was just like, oh blah blah blah. people always talk trash about Jimmy, and I have to come to his defense because he gets too much criticism. I go, okay. I go, what is your opinion on Josh Norman? Oh, I think he's trash. This, and that. Okay, so if I said he was trash, would you defend him? He was like, no. And I go, well, why not? He's number 2 in the league in forced fumbles. So
Yeah.
where's the energy? If he's number 2 in the league in forced fumbles, why aren't you protecting him like you're protecting the quarterback? He is not above criticism. Everybody wants to get pissed off at Robbie. Oh, he should have missed that field. He shouldn't have missed that field goal. He could have won us the game. If it wasn't for Robbie Gold, he's the only one that scored us points in the second half. We got 3 points in the second half. And who was it for? Because of Robbie Gold. So don't come with this foolishness of, well, I defend Jimmy because I'm a Niners fan. Use the same energy for every player who gets criticized.
Well, yeah, and then they defend Jimmy because they're a Niner fan, but yet they're talking shit about Trey, and he's a Niner. Like, he's your
Exactly.
future quarterback. So that's just
Ridiculous. So,
um.
yeah.
Then there was one more
Hey,
thing.
Melissa, how
I
you
don't
doing?
know. Yeah, what's up, Melissa? Hey, John. Appreciate you guys tapping in. I don't remember what my thing
See, that,
last thing was.
Melissa, I don't really agree with. Only because, as much as I love Trey, I think the position we're in, I don't think that you can do it. I just think it looks bad. I just think that it would destroy the locker room. And this is my opinion, of course. I'm not speaking facts. I just think it would destroy the locker room. We're 6th seed right now in the playoffs, where you know what I mean. It would just be a bad look. And then if you bench Jimmy and put Trey in, what's the trade value? They're gonna be like, oh, you benched your starting quarterback in the middle of a playoff run. He must suck. And then we getting like a 6th-rounder for him instead of maybe a third. But let me see what Jesse said about those Niner fans in case they're calling Trey a bust and rooting for Jimmy. It's like bashing Jimmy makes you a non-fan, but trashing the future is okay. Exactly. These
Yeah.
dudes, these dudes and females don't know what they're talking about. Like, at least when we criticize, we give fair criticism to every player. Because I can criticize Eric Armstead. To me, he's not impressive. He's serviceable, but he's not impressive. I mean, so I criticize him, or I see other fans saying something about Armstead. It's crickets. Nobody comes to his defense.
Yeah.
You say something about Josh Norman, like I said, nobody comes to his defense. But then when I sit there and say, well, how come you're not defending him? He's a Niner and he's 2nd in the NFL in forced fumbles. Yeah, but I just think he's trash. Like, dude, you're not making any sense. Like, he's 2nd in the NFL in forced fumbles. We trash him. You're okay with that, but the quarterback is above criticism. So I agree with Jesse. It's foolishness. I think it's supposed to go into playoff playing with the liability. You're preaching to the choir here. I get it. But like I said, I get why Kyle won't do it. I agree, Jesse. I understand. I want Trey to start too. It's too late. I agree with Jesse. We
Yeah.
got 4 games left and we're 6th spot. You know what? Like I said, it'll destroy that locker room. You put Trey in right now. Because if we don't make the playoff, and this is the thing, I wouldn't even want to do Trey like that. Trey gets in, let's say he gets in, and we go 0-4 next 4 games, and we don't make the playoffs. You know how much bashing this kid's going to get? Trey sucks. We should have kept Jimmy in. He's not ready. We told you. And we can't have that for Trey right now. It's too late. I agree, Jesse. But Melissa, I understand it.
Yeah. I agree.
Yep. So.
Um,
Exactly, Raymond. I
that's
love
my
all you
biggest
guys.
thing.
Yep.
That's like my number one thing is like, why, that's fine if you guys love Jimmy or whatever, but it's like, why are you talking shit about somebody that's going to be your quarterback eventually? Like, that's our future quarterback,
Well, you know
regardless.
why? And you know why I think why I can answer this? Because I feel like so many fans think Jimmy's coming back. Like, a lot of them do think that he's coming back. Like I said, I've been talking to people. I had this one dude. I think you sent it to me. The guy was like, Aaron Rodgers set for 3 years. Jimmy set for 3 years behind Tom Brady. Let Trey sit another 2 years and keep. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can't do that. Like, and he's serious, and he was serious. So I think these fans are just delusional, and they just accept mediocrity, and they're okay with keeping Jimmy because people are too enamored with that win-loss record. Well, we win when he's in the quarterback, and it was laughable when people were saying, "I thought Jimmy sucks. He got to 10,000 yards faster than Joe Montana and Steve Young." Man, miss me with that. This is a passing league now. When they were playing quarterback, it was more of, the football was more balanced. As a matter of fact, they ran the football more back in the day. So don't give me this. That's why stats to me are meaningless. I don't
Yeah.
care about him being the fastest niner to 10,000 yards. Ridiculous.
And like my whole thing is, and with the quarterback wins argument, it's like, that's great if he wins and he can get all these yards. But at the end of the day, like, is he getting us a six? Because if not, then who gives a shit? You
Yeah,
could have 10,000 yards in one fucking season if you want. But if you're not bringing us home a ring, I could care less. Like, it ain't doing nothing else for it. No good for us. So you can say he wins, he wins, he wins, but he ain't winning the Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit about anything else.
yeah.
And I
Talk to
wish I
him.
knew, right? Like, it's always that when the team loses, it's because every other position did bad, but when we win, they all want to say, oh, it's because Jimmy wins, it's like,
Yeah. And before you guys stepped on, me and Mariah were talking in the beginning of the show how, like, people were saying, "Oh, well, look at Jimmy. He played a great game. He threw for 290 yards or whatever it was, two touchdowns and no picks." I don't care about that. He didn't play a good game. He had some solid drives, but he didn't play a good game. If you score 3 points in the second half, that is not good quarterback play. I'm sorry. You score 0 points against the Seahawks and you score three against the Bengals. The last two second halves, you scored a field goal. So miss me with this. Oh, he played a good game. No, he didn't. Now he was clutch at the end. He went 6 for 6 and drove us down the field. I'll give him his props.
yeah,
He did his thing on that last drive. But to say he played a solid game, absolutely not. A solid game is wouldn't be where you have your field goal kicker, the only one who gives you points. So let's just say this: Robbie Gould, he misses that field goal in the second half, we might lose this game. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. But
John.
I mean, but it's both ways. I mean, you have some fans that just hate Jimmy so much that you can't, they would never even give him his props for that, overtime drive or anything, like in their eyes, he can't do any good either. So, like, there's
Yeah.
definitely one extreme to the next.
Yeah. And it's just sad, but because I love football, like I can sit here and talk football, whether I agree with you or not. I can talk football for hours and just come up with your points. Like I can sit there with somebody who's a Jimmy stan and talk to them for hours as long as the argument is not getting disrespectful, for one. And if we can just sit there and listen to our points. Well, this is why I think Jimmy should do it. Okay, well, this is why I think Trey. Well, I disagree because this is what I think, whatever the case may be. And it's okay. But to sit here and resort to idiot, you're an idiot, you're a jerk, and like I said, meet me outside in the parking lot and all this other stuff is comical. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, JV. But like I said, we came on here and we said it. Like, he drove us down the field in regulation. We didn't score because Gold, he missed it. And then in overtime, the Bengals went down, scored a field goal. We went down and executed. He went 6 for 6 and we scored a touchdown. That's clutch. I'm sorry. It's clutch. He did his thing.
Yep.
So, Melissa.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely 100 for Trey, but I mean, I've gotten to the point where it is what it is. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting that we're gonna see Trey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I just, after, to be honest, after I saw us beat Jacksonville, like after we beat the Rams, I'm like, okay. And then we beat Jacksonville. I knew from then I was like, we're not going to see Trey the rest of the year because we're too close to playoff contention, whether it be in the hunt, 6 seed, 7 seed, whatever. After we won that game, there was no way that I was like, okay, we're not seeing Trey this year. But, it's just crazy. But, I get it. And two, people, I had to sit back and take and think about some stuff because as much as people would criticize Kyle and John because everybody kept saying they should have just traded him in the offseason, and I go back and I think, what if they tried? Because Jimmy has a no trade clause. It could have been like they called a team like a Washington or Carolina, whoever the case may be, and said, hey, you guys want Jimmy? And they here's a you know and they say, oh yeah, they go to Jimmy and say, or this agent and say, hey, we talked to Washington football team. They offers us a fourth, and he could have said, no, I don't want to go there. So their
yeah,
hands are tied because he has a no trade clause. But after this season, the trade clause expires, and he can be traded wherever we want him to go, whoever gives us the best compensation. So I give them a pass on that. And people say, well, they could have cut him. True. they could have cut him, but at the same time, you're not guaranteeing getting an Andy Dalton or a Mitchell Trubisky, whatever the case may be, or Gardner Minshew to be a backup, whatever the case may be. So I can, I mean, I don't like it, but I will understand it because it could have been a situation where they tried to trade him and then he was like, nope, I'm not going there. Nope, I'm not going there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, I agree with this. What Raymond's saying, is that, you know, we don't like us on the Trey side or the, Jimmy gotta go side. It's not, it's not personal. We don't hate the guy. It's like I've said that so many times. Like, I don't hate the guy. I don't know the guy, He's not my uncle. That's why I'm not going up to bat to fight for
Yeah,
his ass, like,
exactly.
but he's inconsistent. But at the end of the day, he is what he is. We know what he is.
Hmm.
We go into each week expecting this because we know what Jimmy is or what he's not. It's like
Yeah.
he is what he is.
Yeah. And just and we can put this to bed and stuff, but at the same time too, it's one of those things where it's like, people try to compare other situations. Well, look at Aaron Rodgers, look at Jimmy, he said, look at all these other quarterbacks. I go, okay, for every Aaron Rodgers, you have a Josh Allen.
Yeah.
For every Aaron Rodgers, or you look at a situation like Jordan Love. He's been sitting for a couple of years. He started that one game, he looked terrible. So, everybody's different. Some people can learn, and it depends on who you're learning from. Aaron Rodgers had Brett Favre in front of him. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who's a veteran, who's a Hall of Famer. So you can sit back on the bench and watch and be like, okay, this is what he does. This is how he executes. This is how he reads defenses, stuff like that. You're not going to be doing that with Jimmy. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, John. You can be over this dude and still support the team. Absolutely. It
Yep.
doesn't. There's no definition for a fan that says if you don't support all 53 men on the team, that you're not a fan. You can sit there and say, you know what, I don't want him on my team. Like I'm gonna be honest, I feel sorry for the guy. I want D Ford off this team.
Yeah.
I'm sad that he's hurt. I'm sad that he's been injured, but I'm sorry. He's any person who hinders this team. I want him gone. Period. So D Ford, he's making all that money. I want him gone. So is that saying I'm a hater? Oh, you're a hater, bro. You want this dude off the team? Yes, I do, because he's not making this team better. Period. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that says, you have to fan this way or else, you're not a
exactly.
fan or you have to feel the exact same way as every other fan in the, faithful or else you're not a fan, like that's the stupidest shit I hear. Like, oh, you're not a real faithful. You're not a real fan because you feel this way or you feel that way. It's like, okay, last time I checked, there's no fan police, like you
Yeah,
surely ain't the fan police telling me how to be
exactly.
a fan. um, but yeah, I mean, I think that we've
Yeah. So Melissa, let me ask you one question. Do you think that Jimmy was solid in overtime? Yeah, I agree, JV. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like JV said and Ray said, like credit is credit. You know what I mean? You can't pick and choose that either because that's not fair. Just because you don't like a guy, you can't just sit there and be like, oh, he sucked. Like you can't be like, oh, he threw for 400 yards or 4 touchdowns. Oh no, he was trash that game. Like you can't do that. You have to be realistic. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I mean, and we talked about, right? Like, if it was, like if he would have been better and, like executed better, we wouldn't have been in that position for him to even have to win in overtime, right?
it's true.
You know, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that situation. It's a team game. We were in overtime and he let us down there 6 for 6. I
Hmm.
mean, you got to call it what you call it, like
Exactly.
we
So
didn't
yeah,
get down there, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's part the wide receivers caught the ball, but they can't throw the ball to themselves. Like, like
exactly.
come on now.
Yeah. Melissa,
Um,
answer.
because he was bailed out by Jawan, Brandon, and George.
Okay. Well, that's your opinion, but you know, 6 for 6 is 6 for 6. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I give Jimmy that credit too. That back shoulder throw to Jawan Jennings, that was a nice throw. You know what I mean? And then two, somebody argued with me too, and I'm gonna stand my ground. But people got mad at Travis Benjamin for dropping that ball. Well, it should have been a touchdown. He had to stop and come back for it, and then you put the position, you put him in a position where the defense can make a play on it, where the corner was
Yeah.
there to make a play on it. So to me, yeah, it depends on who it was. I feel like if it was Debo or Jawan Jennings, probably would have been caught, or Kittle probably would have been caught because they came back. You got Travis Benjamin, who he's not the best receiver. He's like a number 5 guy on the roster, number 6 guy, but he had his man beat. If Jimmy had a little bit better arm, he throws it at 6. But like I said, he had to come back. He waited for it, and then it got the DB in position where he got in front of Travis Benjamin and kind of put his hands up. So what I mean? It's one of those things. But yeah, he did his job. That's right, JV.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
I think that's it. We had
Sounds
some
good.
late visitors at the ends.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you guys sometime next week.
JV. His little last comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
fam.
Take care, everybody.